Bonnie MacFarlane is a returning character from Red Dead Redemption 1 who plays a minor role in Red Dead 2 Online, and is also referenced in Red Dead Redemption 2 Single Player. In Red Dead Redemption 2 Single Player, the player can come across a possible suitor of Bonnie's. With his last breath, the man we find asks us to tell her he never stopped, and dies. Looting his body, we get letter to Bonnie MacFarlane. The letter reads, "Dear Miss MacFarlane, I said it. I'm sorry. You're right. I do let things get out of control in my head. I always have. I see that. But I love you. We are meant to be together. It's our destiny. I know it is. I saw us in a dream, raising kids. You were very happy as my wife, and I was proud to be your husband. Dreams don't lie, and neither do I. I'm heading off to find my fortune, and when I come back a rich man, you'll see what a fine husband I will make you, and a father to our children. And no, I won't grow up. On that subject, you're wrong. I've got so many things to say to you. I'm going to continue with the writing of this letter later, but believe me when I say we are destined for a long, happy life together. Even your father will come to believe it and accept me, no matter how humble my birth." In Red Dead Online, sometimes you can find a letter sitting beside the table behind Bonnie. Possibly a letter to or from this man, and because we can't mail the letter to her in Single Player, Bonnie will never know what happened. In Red Dead Online, we find Bonnie MacFarlane sitting on the deck of MacFarlane's ranch, cleaning her gun.
Can I help you? Oh, please don't tell me you've come a-robbing. I haven't got the time. Or you just looking for work? Talkative one, ain't you? We're trying to get packed up. My father wants to go on a trip, avoid the illness that's plaguing the county. He's never run away from anything in his life. At least that's the way he tells it. And now this. Mabel, please pack all my dresses and both the guns.
Yes, Miss MacFarlane?
Sweet girl. To call her a village idiot would be unkind to most idiots.
Miss MacFarlane?
Yes, Amos?
The wagon, it's gone.
Gone where, precisely?
Well, we don't know. That's what gone means. It means that you cannot find it.
Well, actually, on point of order, it doesn't, but let's not get lost in semantics. Any clue as to where it might be?
I suppose maybe Jimmy used it to take his mother to the doctor. He was riding through some nasty country.
God damn it. Excuse me. Amos, get on with the milking.
Yes, Miss MacFarlane.
You wouldn't mind trying to find this damn wagon, would you? I'll pay you handsomely. We're very short-handed right now. Thank you. Thank you very much. And good luck.
Bonnie says she and her father Drew are trying to get packed up so they can leave and avoid the illness that's plaguing the county. But before doing so, she tasks the player with some missions involving recovery, delivery, hunting, and escorting. The first mission we receive from Bonnie is to find and recover the lost cart. After killing a small group of enemies, we can now get in the cart and deliver it to MacFarlane's ranch. We get awarded with 0.1 gold and $3.77. And now we can return to Bonnie every day to receive a new mission.
Sorry, the work's dried up for the time being.
After completing the first recovery mission, Bonnie now acts as a regular mission giver, and can never run out of missions, even giving the player the same missions they've already done. As mentioned already, Bonnie has 4 types of missions: recovery, delivery, hunting, and escorting. Because all of these missions are more or less the same and don't have any ending cutscenes, I won't be playing through them all, especially considering how slow the starting horse is, and that other players can interfere with these missions. But we will go over all the scenes where Bonnie gives you a mission, and we'll cover the rest of the lore and information we can get out of Bonnie. Another mission Bonnie tasks the player with is to deliver some bags back to some people she and her father had previously borrowed from.
Thank you. Thank you. It's the illness, you see. People are dropping like flies. It's sad, really. This whole country. My father thought it would turn into the new Eden. And that sure as hell ain't happening. But we'll survive. We tend to. Anyway, There's so much to do, so much, and so few people to help. You know what would be an enormous help? If you could deliver some bags from behind the house. It's things we borrowed and owe people and such like. All things we must pay back if we're ever to leave with our heads held high. We'll still be here a while yet, so come back if you're in the neighborhood.
Since this is the only delivery I've completed, I can't guarantee this is the payout for all the missions. But at the end of this delivery, we received 0.3 gold and $6.34. In another mission, Bonnie asks us to recover a stolen wagon for Armadillo store owner Herbert Moon.
I swear everyone comes here with a problem. I don't mean you, of course. I could use some more folks like you who actually want to help. I'm sorry, that sounds very uncharitable, I know. Just this time it's Herbert Moon. Runs the general store in Armadillo. His wagon's been stolen. I've never cared for the man. But that town's going through a hard time, and he's sticking it out, at least. How the fever hasn't gotten to him yet, I don't know. Could you see if you could find it and bring it back here? Not that Mr. Moon really deserves it.
I attempted to do this mission, but because of a bug I didn't receive any objectives, and the mission never started. This can actually happen any time when trying to accept a mission. Bonnie tells us she and her father are still trying to get ready to leave for their trip, but before doing so, she needs to get some things cleared up, tasking the player with another delivery.
Oh, good, good. Just in time. We're still trying to get ready to leave on this trip, my father and I, but there's just so much to do, and he's off gallivanting God knows where again, and I'm just expected to deal with it all. Not that I'm complaining. I know he's been through a lot, losing so many sons. But I lost my brothers. Okay. So maybe I'm complaining a little. I think we both need to get away from this place for a while. Anyway, I've been trying to get things cleared up around here, and there's a few bags behind the house of bits and bobs I've been meaning to drop off with the neighbors. If you could do that for me, it would really be a big help. So, what do you think?
Bonnie tells us she's been robbed again, and lost a wagon she says she cannot afford to lose.
Good. At least someone hasn't come a-robbing. I tell you, there's nothing like a little plague infestation to really show your neighbors and fellow countrymen in their true colors. The whole county is gone to the dogs. We've been robbed again. I've got no idea quite by whom. But they took a wagon we cannot afford to lose. Will you go and get it back? From my understanding, they're somewhere near Brittlebrush Trawl. I will, of course, pay you for your trouble. Thank you, and try to stay safe.
In another mission, Bonnie tells us her neighbor has been asking for help dealing with a bear that's been persecuting him and his family.
Well done with that last job. So can you help me? Wonderful. My neighbor's been asking for help with a bear that's been persecuting him and his family. To be honest, he's something of a whiner. I can't stand him, and never could. His wife was awful to my mother when she got sick. But we must try to be neighborly, so he's asked my father to kill the thing. Now, the last thing I need is my father off on a 2-day bear hunt, when he's meant to be writing letters and taking on an overseer. Don't even ask. It's all so pathetic. But if you'd go kill this bear, then my honor and my idiot neighbor's family will both be preserved. Yes, it's quite as silly as it sounds, even to me.
Bonnie tells us he's always been a whiner, telling us his wife was awful to her mother when she got sick. Being the nice person she is, Bonnie tasks us with hunting the bear, and that starts our first on-the-hunt mission, and we now need to hunt and deliver the bear pelt. But halfway through I got disconnected, and couldn't even see the bear.
Okay, good. I was gonna deal with this myself, but I have 100 other things to do today. We've been having problems with a cougar, coming here and killing livestock. My father's ranting and raving, saying he's gonna hunt it down himself. But I'm worried about his health right now. If you could kill the damn thing for me, it'd be a weight off my mind. And I'll pay you, of course. Just one thing, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but would you bring the carcass back here? It's the only way I'll be able to convince my father. His dear daughter's word is never enough, I'm afraid. If it sounds petty and annoying, that's because it is.
Telling us she was going to deal with it herself, Bonnie tells us they have been having problems with the cougar killing the livestock, and that her father said he was going to kill it himself. Worried about his health, Bonnie asks the player to hunt it down, but to bring the carcass back so she can convince her father that it's finally been killed.
Oh, good. Well, we have a bit of a problem. A cougar killed a man camping over in Cholla Springs. They don't attack humans too often, but a boy was mauled near there last week too, so this animal's clearly got a bent for it. A group of us have put up a reward for anyone that kills and brings it in. Amos has ridden over there, but he's got about as much of a chance of catching that thing as a one-legged man in a kicking competition, I'm afraid. He's a decent ranch hand, but shooting ain't his strong suit, poor feller. If you could deal with this, a lot of folks would sleep much easier. I'd go myself, but I'm just up to my eyes in it here.
Coming back later, Bonnie tells us of another cougar problem, and that a camper had been killed by it out in Cholla Springs, and tells us a boy had been mauled near there last week. She also says that Amos has ridden out there, but as she puts it, he has as much of a chance at catching that thing as a one-legged man in a kicking competition.
Good. Plenty to do around here. A group of laborers arrived looking for work, but we're trying to wind things down here in the hope that my father and I will actually leave on this trip while I'm still young. He's a stubborn goat. But then, he's a man. So, of course he is. Anyway, these are good workers. Good people. And they need to earn some money. So I'm gonna send them over to Ridgewood Farm. I know they're looking for some extra hands. Problem is, this Del Lobo gang has been holding up pretty much every wagon crossing the desert. So they need an escort. If you can ride with them, I'd really appreciate it. I just don't have the time right now.
In another mission, Bonnie asks the player to escort a caravan over to Ridgewood Farm to protect them from the Del Lobo gang.
Okay, so this is gonna sound a little strange and ridiculous, but I'm just gonna come out and say it. My father's been very down. The sooner we get out of here for a while, the better. And I want to get him something to cheer him up a little, if that's even possible. He's not an easy person to buy gifts for. But he's talked more than once about these alligator boots he saw when he was traveling through Lemoyne. And a feller at Thieves Landing said, if I get him the materials, he'd make some for me. But I hardly have time to be off reptile hunting, which is where you come in. See? Just as ridiculous as promised.
After telling us her father's been feeling down, Bonnie has an idea to cheer him up. She tells us her father is not an easy person to buy gifts for, but he's talked quite a few times about a pair of alligator boots he's seen when traveling in Lemoyne. And a man in Thieves Landing said if she had the materials he would make her a pair, and tasked the player with hunting an alligator, and I assume bringing back the skin. I say assume because she just sort of stopped talking about it, and I never received any mission objectives.
Nice someone's here to work and not rob us for once. Although the work is robbing of a kind. The undertaker in Armadillo's had his wagon stolen, and he's a very busy man. I wonder what will become of that town and this damn plague. The sheriff there seems completely in over his head. We're all hoping Lee Johnson will come back. Anyway, the wagon was last seen near Pike's Basin. If you could get it back and return it to Coots Chapel, you'd be doing a good thing. We need all the help we can get.
Bonnie tells us the Undertaker in Armadillo has had his wagon stolen, and that the current marshal is in over his head, and she hopes that Lee Johnson will come back, tasking us with recovering the wagon and delivering it to Coots Chapel.
Thank you. You've come at just the right time. My father and Amos have gone to Blackwater for supplies. It isn't like we can shop too freely in Armadillo these days, unfortunately. But another wagon has gone missing. Seemingly everyone around here works with their eyes closed. Anyway, casting aspersions won't fix anything. Would you go see if you can get it back for me? They can't have gotten too far, I reckon. They're still in Hennigan's somewhere. Thank you. I'll pay, of course.
In another mission, Bonnie tells the player that her father and Amos have went to Blackwater for supplies, and that shopping in Armadillo isn't much of an option. Bonnie then tells us her wagon has been stolen, and asks us to retrieve it.
Thank you. There's so much to do. This sickness in Armadillo, you must have heard about it. It's decimating the town. They've had to start burning the bodies because they can't bury them fast enough. The Undertaker must be the richest man in New Austin. And as if things couldn't get any worse, this Del Lobo gang is running amok. We've been doing our best to get people east out of the county. But those degenerate bastards keep on robbing them. There's a group here. We're trying to get to Thieves' Landing so they can cross over into West Elizabeth. But they need some protection. Do you think you can escort them there safely? We'll pay you for it. Of course.
Bonnie tells us the sickness in Armadillo is decimating the town, and that the Del Lobos gang keep robbing them. Bonnie then asks us to escort a group into Thieves' Landing so they can get into West Elizabeth. Another mission involves recovering a boat for Bonnie's old governess, now living in Blackwater, who taught Bonnie things like Latin and iambic pentameters.
Okay, so this is a little embarrassing, but I trust you. My old governess, she lives in Blackwater now. She came to us to say that her husband's boat was stolen on the lower Montana River. And yes, I did have a governess for a few years. Guess my father briefly pictured a different future for me. She taught me Latin and iambic pentameters. All the essentials for running a ranch. Do you think you could go get it back for them? You can drop it off at Thieves' Landing. Thank you. I know this is ridiculous.
I'm fairly certain these are all the missions Bonnie gives you. I was recording for hours and these are all the missions she had given me, even giving me missions I had already done before. Right now, Bonnie acts as a minor mission giver in Online, and is only referenced in the single player. Since Online is only going to get bigger from this point, it's possible that by the time you're watching this, more has been added, and Bonnie may have more missions or play a larger role. That has been everything we know about Bonnie MacFarlane in Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online.
Just in glorious sight. It's so fun, so